Rent got too expensive, had to leave LA. So I got into my car and I went away to the big estate. Playing poker every day. Going all in with these fish like I'm at an all-you-can-eat buffet.
It's really bright out here, but real quickly, you guys, I wanted to announce I'm partnering up with Poker House Dallas this weekend. If you guys are in Dallas, it's Saturday, Sunday, 8 p.m. to like 4 or 5 in the morning. I'll be playing poker. It's a really cool new spot. It looks like a mix between the Aria and the Wynn, but it's in Dallas. I'll be hosting a meetup there both days. The first night, we're gonna have a food truck out. Second night, we're gonna have some tastings of some alcohols. I'm not sure what they are just yet, but if you're of age, come and play. This is your chance. I don't think I'll be coming back to Dallas at all on this trip. If you wanna play with me, now's the time. Let's do it. Let's get into the hands. Let's go. After a $2,200 win last night, we're back at it again in Midland, Texas. We start off the day early, this time entering a $260 deep stack tournament where we catch a guy making a royal flush. Charlie, the manager here, then treats me to a sweet mango tea from HTO, and we're feeling good about our chances in the tourney. What would a poker felt be without a sponsorship from BBC? Go search it on Google Images if you have some time. We end up making it to the $100 add-on, but then get our pocket 8s all in for 10 big blinds pre-flop and bust before cashing. We spot our new buddy Basil outside and end up playing a game of chess together before I head over to the Wall Street Bar and Grill with my guy CJ. After a great chicken fried steak, we head back to Kojak's to play some cash games. What's up, you guys? We're back here at Kojak's for day 2. Yesterday we won over $2,000. Let's see if we can run it up again today. We get into two very interesting hands. One where we bet $400 on the turn. The other one, we may or may not have gotten bluffed by a vlog watcher. You guys aren't going to want to miss these hands. Let's just jump right into the action. Let's go! First hand a note, we look down at ace queen of diamonds from early position and I raise it up to $20. There's 4 callers, so we're off to a flop which comes jack 9-6 with 2 diamonds. We have the nut flush draw. Having just ace high here and 3 other opponents, I start with a check. All the other opponents do as well and we're off to the turn. The turn comes to 7 of spades, which doesn't change too much other than 10-8 and 8-5 now making a straight. However, when the flop gets checked through and we have the nut diamond draw here, I think a bet is appropriate. So I size up for $55 here, looking to see what the other players do and see if they play back at me. If we get called here, it's not the worst situation because we're likely good with any ace queen or diamond on the river. Middle position puts in the call, both the other opponents fold and we're off to the river in an over $200 pot. River pairs the jack, it comes a jack of spades. And sometimes when you're playing, you go for the right decision and go for the double barrel bluff. And sometimes, like this one, you just give up and check, fearing that the board pairing jack connects more with the middle position than it does with you when you check the flop. Unfortunately, we're not going to see a cheap showdown. Middle position, whose name is Corey, fires out for $125. I think if he had a jack, he would play this way. If he had a set, he'd play this way. And if he had missed diamonds or a missed straight draw, he'd also play this way. But I'm not going to be putting in 125 on the river with ace high here. Maybe if I had a pocket pair like pocket 10s, pocket 5, something like that, I could probably call him down. I muck my cards and he is very excited to show for the vlog that he had none other than 4-5s offsuit. He picked up an open-ended straight draw on the turn. Bless your soul, Corey. We top up $400 more because you can buy up to 70% of the largest stack, which I'm definitely a fan of. And we're blessed with ace-king offsuit from the under the gun +1 position, and we raise it up to $20 and get 3 callers. Expecting it to go 4 ways to the flop is not the exact outcome that happens when the button decides he wants to make it $60, which is a very small 3-bet. It should be somewhere in the neighborhood of $100. So when the action comes back around to me, I'm not going to be calling here and inviting in the other 3 opponents as well. So I go for the 4-bet all in. All $1,000 of my chip stack are in play. We do have the button covered for a little bit less. Flop comes 7-3-9 with 2 diamonds. Turn comes the ace of hearts. We're liking our chances now. River comes the 6 of diamonds. But the opponent unfortunately turns over the exact same hand of the different suits, of course. And we're going to chop this $1,760 pot here against the other opponent. Fortunately for us, he couldn't have had pocket kings or queens, but that's just how poker goes, and we're on to the next hand when we do pick up pocket queens for our own now. We have 950 in our stack, and we're in middle position. Early position raises it up to $20 and it folds around to me. Standard 3-bet incoming from us here. We pop it up to $60 and get a call from early position. So we're heads up to the flop, which of course comes ace high, ace 3-5 rainbow. Early position checks as I would expect him to do with his entire range. Actions on us, and just because there's an ace on the board does not mean we have to check behind. We're going to rep our entire range here and go for a c-bet of $45. The opponent decides he wants to peel for another card. He tosses in the 45 and we're off to the turn, which comes the 4 of clubs. The opponent checks it over to us for a second time, and once we're called on the flop, I don't think there's too much value we can get from here. The 4 of clubs does bring in the wheel. It puts a backdoor flush draw on board as well. I check behind looking for a clean river, which isn't exactly what comes. It comes a 7 of clubs. Backdoor clubs get there. Any hand containing a 6 or a deuce has us beat, and an ace as well. The opponent fires out for $45, which is a very small bet. Thinking in my head here, how can I possibly fold? If he has an ace, so be it. We're going to have to pay him off here. It's $45 into a pot of 170. If he has us beat here, we're just going to have to take our medicine. We have pocket queens, and when we check back the turn, he could be going for a bluff on the river. I toss in $45. The opponent does not have an ace in his hand, which is good news for us until he shows pocket kings. So I guess the way he played this hand makes a lot of sense, but he's going to get rewarded with that $260 pot. Just fortunate he didn't 4-bet us pre-flop, as that pot could have got pretty bloated pretty quickly. In every session, there's that one hand that's a turning point. Up until now, we've been losing a bunch of small pots. We look down at ace 10 offsuit from early position, and under the gun raises it up to $15. I decide to put in the call instead of going for the 3-bet, which invites our buddy Basil in, which you guys saw in the introduction. We're going to a flop 3 ways here with $45 in the pot, which comes ace 10 3, bang, we flop top 2. Even though there's 3 of us in the hand, the under the gun does not slow down betting. He fires out for $25, and I think a raise is probably the best move. Any 2 face cards are either going to have a pair or a draw to Broadway, as well as the front door club draw is out there. Instead, I toss in the $25 looking to see what Basil does, and he gets out of the way, so we're heads up in position to the turn. Turn comes the queen of diamonds, so now king jack now makes a straight. Additionally, ace queen beats us with 2 pair, but when the under the gun checks to us, I think we need to go for value here. There's 2 flush draws, a bunch of straight draws out there, and with $95 in the pot, I size up here for $65. When the under the gun puts in the call here, it's likely he has an ace. I'm hoping he doesn't have 2 pair, although I'd bet he would go for the check raise if he had a hand like ace queen, so I can confidently rule that out of his holdings, and we're off to the river. River now puts a 4-liner to Broadway, comes the king of hearts, not exactly the best run out for our hand. He checks it over to us, and I snap check behind. I don't want to get into a situation where I bet and then he makes it like 3 times my bet sizing, and we're in a gross spot. I just turn over my 2 pair, expecting to be good a large portion of the time, and a large portion of the time is this portion of the time. He mucks his cards and later said he had deuce 4 of clubs, so he flopped the world without exactly making a pair. $225 coming our way, and we're off to the next hand. We're hosting a meetup game here, so we have to switch tables, and this table is a 5 to 25 on the button instead of just the $5. What that means is any opponent on the button can choose to put in anything from 5 to 25. We look down from the late position at queen 10 of clubs. Early position raises it up to $65, and there's 1 call to me. Queen 10 suited here is 2/5 of a royal flush draw. I toss in the call, and 1 other opponent does as well, so we're off to the flop. We like our chances when the flop comes queen 7-3 rainbow. We like our chances even more when the action checks to me. Not going to let this get checked through here. I think if the opponent had a hand better than us, he'd go for a bet. I fire for $75. Action's back on the initial pre-flop raiser, and he decides to put in the call, so we're going heads up to the turn. Turn pairs a 7, it comes a 7 of spades, and fortunately for us, we don't have our favorite hand, pocket 7s. Early position checks it over to us for a second time, and I think it's important to go for a bet here again. When he calls us on the flop, he could have a hand like ace king. He also could have a hand like pocket jacks, pocket 10s, pocket 9s, something like that. So with $210 in the pot, I'm protecting my ace here, and I size up for $210. If we get called here, it's a lot of information, probably letting us know he's slow playing a monster or an overpair. And sure enough, he does toss in the $210. Pretty strange line already. In the river comes the ace of hearts, which isn't exactly the best card, although it would be pretty hard for him to have ace king here, as he would have had to float us on the flop and the turn, only to make a pair on the river. But now the opponent leads out for half pot, $310. Not really too sure what he's trying to represent here when he check calls the flop and check calls a pot size bet on the turn just to lead out for half pot on the river. I guess he could have a hand like ace queen, makes a lot of sense, pocket queens, pocket kings, or aces, obviously. For that reason, I just decided to give up my hand. Queen 10 suited here probably is not the best hand. If you check to us on the river, you better believe I'd be checking behind there, looking to get to a showdown. Fortunately for us, he does not show his hand, and we're off to the next one, which we look down at ace queen of diamonds. The opponent on the button decides to put in $10, and there's one caller to the middle position player who raises it up to $50. Another opponent decides he wants to call the $50, and the action's on me here with ace queen of diamonds, and I think I make a mistake here by just putting in the flat call. I think in a situation like this, there's a lot of dead money out there. We should be raising somewhere around $200 to $250. Instead, I toss in the 2 green chips, which brings in a few other opponents, so we're going 7 ways to the flop here. $350 in the pot, pretty bloated already. It comes queen 5-6. We do have top pair here, but it would be a lot nicer to only go heads up or 3 ways to this flop. But the action checks over to me, and with $350 in the middle and we have top, I think we need to go for a bet and see where we're at in this hand. We could use some protection against a king or some straight draw low cards. I fire out for $155. That doesn't slow down the hijack and the under the gun, who both put in the $155, and we're off to the turn. Turn comes a jack of clubs, which really doesn't change too much. I guess the opponent could have a hand like queen jack and call the flop. When the under the gun checks it over to us for a second time here, I think we need to go for another chunky size bet. $815 in the middle, I fire out for $400. Hoping to get heads up or just win the pot right now. Hijack gets out of the way, so at least we'll be in position to under the gun, but he ends up getting out of the way as well. So our double barrel there takes that pot down, and we're on to the next table. Unfortunately, we can't bring our $1,700 stack over to the $5 button table, so we cash out our $270 profit and back over to the smaller $5 on the button table. First hand to note here, we look down at 3-8 of diamonds, and I raise it up to $20. We don't only play the premium hands, only the button puts in the call, so going heads up to the flop. With 8-3 of diamonds, you didn't exactly expect us to smash this flop, did you? Flop comes king jack 7 with 1 diamond, and I decided to start with a check, and the button checks behind, and we see the 6 of diamonds on the turn. Pretty good card for us because we pick up the diamond draw. For that reason, I decided to go for a delayed c-bet of $25. The opponent's not buying it. He puts in the call, and we're off to the river, which comes the 8 of spades. Now we have some showdown value with our 8-3 of diamonds. I start with a check, looking to pick off some bluffs or beat some hands like 6-4 of clubs. We rivered him, $90 coming our way in a hand that we typically don't play, but thought I'd include it for the vlog since you guys want to see the smaller, more trivial pots. Back to the more normal hands, we look down at ace-8 of spades, and I raise it up to $20. Get 3 callers here, and the flop comes ace-ace deuce. Bang, we flop 3 of a kind. I decided to check, as it's unlikely we're going to get value from a lot of other hands other than the only remaining ace in the deck. The cutoff bet $65 into the $80 pot, which is worrisome because there are a lot of better aces than our hand. I put in the call, and I'm the only one to do so, and we're off to the turn. Turn's one of those cards that's either amazing for us or really bad. Comes the deuce of clubs, so now we're chopping against any ace. I check it over to the opponent, and he fires again for $75. I don't really see a point in raising here just yet. I toss in 3 green chips, and we're off to the river. The river comes the 3 of diamonds, and now I decide to put him all in, putting him to the test. I guess this bet doesn't really accomplish much because he's probably just going to be folding all of his pocket pairs underneath an ace and calling us with any aces that obviously chop with us. Sure enough, he shows one of those hands, ace-5 offsuit. That deuce on the turn was a very bad card for us as we had him dominated. We were going to win a large one there until that card peeled off. Fortunately for us, we're going to chop up this $860 pot with our full house. We just chopped with ace-5 offsuit. Now we pick it up for ourselves. Zubia, a vlog watcher to our right, raises it up to $15. I put in the call, and there's one other call. We're going 3 ways to the flop. 45 in the middle, flop comes 4-10-3 with all clubs. We have the ace of clubs in our hand, a pretty great situation to be in. Not only do we have a gutter to the wheel, but we have the best club in our hand to go along with it. Zubia likes his board as well. He fires out for nearly pot, $45. Not going to be going anywhere here. I think a raise could be appropriate as well. I decided to play it a little bit more cautiously and toss in $45. Early position gets out of the way and we're off to a turn. Turn comes a queen of spades, which is going to connect a lot more with his raising range than our calling range. Zubia doesn't slow down here. He bets half pot for $75. Not exactly too sure what story he's trying to tell. Maybe a flop flush. Maybe he was semi-bluffing on the flop and now made a pair on the turn and is going for value. Either way though, we do have a lot of outs against those hands. I toss in the $75 looking for a very good river card, which does not come. It's a red 6, does not improve our hand in the slightest. I'm hoping Zubia slows down here so we can either check behind and get to a showdown with our ace high, or we can go for a bluff on the river. Unfortunately for us though, Zubia assembles a very large chip stack here with green chips on top, $275 into the $290 pot. When the board doesn't pair on the river, I'm putting Zubia on a flush. Obviously, he doesn't have the nut flush, so we could go for a bluff here on the river. Having the ace of clubs in our hand is a very strong card, but he doesn't have too much more behind, so we don't have very much fold equity. I decided to show him the ace of clubs and muck my cards, and he's a vlog watcher, so he wants to show us and make the vlog that he had ace 5 of diamonds. Just absolutely blasted off on every single card there. I have no idea what he was doing, but I love the ambition, and that's what we like to see here at these meetup games. People having fun. Hopefully we can get some run good for the last couple hands of the night. Few more hands to go here. We look down at ace king offsuit and I decided to raise it up from $20 from the under the gun position. We get 3 callers, so we're off to the flop 4 ways, which comes ace 7, ace bang. We flop 3 of a kind as well. Hoping to not chop this one, I start with a check again, and middle position now bets out for $20. Zubia, our buddy on the button here, raises it up to $60. This is music to our ears. What did we just induce here with a check on the flop? With no draws on board, I decide that a call is the best way to play this hand, hoping to bring in the middle position player as well. That's not what happens, but we get some even better news when the middle position player now goes all in for $165. Actions back onto Zubia, who gives up the gig. He was bluffing for a second time in a row here. He folds and the actions back onto us. Obviously a snap call here. I put in the call and we're off to the run out. The turn comes the 4 of hearts. River comes the deuce of diamonds. Nothing really gets there. The opponent turns over ace 9 offsuit. We flip over our ace king, and that's going to be coming our way. Lucky no chop for us. Lucky no 9 on the turn or the river. Finally a good pot coming our way. $470 for the good guys. Trying to string a few good hands together here. I raise king jack offsuit for $25. Get 3 callers again here, so we're looking for an above average flop, which comes for us jack 10-7 with 2 spades. With top pair here on a fairly draw heavy board, I decide to go for a c-bet of $55 into the $100 pot, and that invites 2 other players in for that price. Middle position and the hijack both call. Turn comes the deuce of clubs, which changes absolutely nothing. Still with top pair with a king kicker. I think I need to continue betting here and protect my hand against any of the straight and flush draws. I bet out for $125. Middle position waves the white flag. It's a no-go for him. But now the action's on the hijack, who doesn't appear to want to fold his hand just yet. He goes all in for less, $100 in his stack, and turns over ace deuce of spades. He turned a pair, so any deuce, any spade on the river is going to ship the pot towards him. Please dealer, some run good for the vlog, and he puts out the king of clubs, which is a great card for us. We end up with 2 pair. The opponent only has 1 pair. Last time I checked, 2 pair beats 1 pair, and we're going to take down that nice sized pot. On to the next hand, where we pick up ace jack offsuit. $10 straddles on, and there's a call. I pop it up to $45, and we get 2 players to my left who both put in the call. Both the $10 get out of the way, which is strange, and we're off to the flop, which comes ace high. Ace king 9 with 2 diamonds. Top pair is a pretty good hand to make, so I fire out for a third of the pot for $50. The hijack puts in the call with red chips, and we're off to the turn card. Turn doesn't change too much. It comes the 8 of clubs. Happy to not see a diamond on the turn. I go for another bet here, this time for $80. The opponent has a 1 pair type of hand. I'm expecting him to call here. Also, diamonds are getting a pretty good price to call as well. Unfortunately for us, the hijack puts in the fold. We're going to take down that last hand of the night here. Nice to string together a few wins to end the night and a long day of playing poker. Woo! Just wrapped up that session. We played for 7 hours, got out of the game for 1,030. We were in for 1,200, which means we lost 170, but fear not, we won 270 when we switched over to that 5 to 25 larger game for that 1 hour to play with some of those players. We actually booked a $100 profit on the day. Not a great hourly, but still a profit's a profit here, and happy to get the W. you guys like this video, drop a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're new, leave a comment down below. Good luck on the felt as always, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace. Thanks for watching to the end of my video. Click my head below to subscribe and stay in the loop. See you next time.